is going to be juicy.
In a fictional universe, the author of it may take any measure of license as to what is possible within the realm of the universe he or she creates. Yet, in order to promote the prosperity of a world, galaxy, or universe, it must possess certain qualities to give it plausibilities. In short, it must have laws as well as familiar characteristics to its inhabitants, whether favorable or undesirable. It must either promote feelings of wanting to exist in such an atmosphere, or in the case of most villains we see in comics dealing with galactic matters, a strong desire to watch it burn. Such is the cybertronic atmosphere known as the Transformers universe, where the slogan is aptly more than meets the eye. Leaping over the obvious robotic abilities to disguise themselves as everyday automobiles or aircraft, there is some nefarious duplicity involved within the script and comic book narratives. Traitors. By nature, traitors are more than meets the eye in that they give all pretense of having qualities that appear to be loyal to one cause, while in reality they are in fact spying on their comrades to give the other side the advantage or leverage. Since this idea is as old as even the most ancient of texts, having traitors in your universe realm gives it some level of credence. It is familiar territory. Next is giving believable reasons for the traitors to betray, such as greed. It may be ideology or dissatisfaction with his current station in his order. Let us take the Decepticon turned Autobot Skyfire, for example. When woken from his frozen state, having been discovered by chance, he was acknowledged by Starscream as a fellow explorer who got separated from him and was determined to be lost after extensive search efforts failed. Upon his revival, he accepted what the Decepticons gave him as the reason for why they were on planet Earth. Unfortunately for Megatron, ingrained in Skyfire's motherboard was a program promoting peace and the preservation of all rights and liberties common to sentient beings. So that it was upon discovering Megatron's plans to rule over, subjugate, and even eliminate the Autobots when his new despot leader, Megatron, deemed necessary. Skyfire's embedded artificial intelligence personality software rebelled. We learned that as he was designated a traitor in the eyes of the Decepticons, he became a member of the Autobots by default. Such are some of the creative concepts behind the manufacturing of this Transformers Prime narrative. Good versus evil means war is inevitable, and wars create, among other things, traitors. Now we come to the point of this episode where we cover existence and duplicity. One traitor in particular, designated Knockout. An oxymoron, or if there ever was one, as he has never been seen living up to his code name's sake. Rather than knocking any Autobot out, he is seen giving cheap shots, both physically as well as verbal. Like Skyfire, Knockout is a scientist, though in different fields. Where Skyfire was an explorer, Knockout is a medical officer, and therefore was designed to save lives and not take them, as soldiers are programmed to do. Nevertheless, his programming seemed to have overridden his primary intended function, as was explained when we first meet the subject of this episode. Knockout was summoned by Starscream to save or repair a damaged Megatron. As a member of the Decepticons, we may safely assume that he was familiar with, even supportive of their propaganda and indoctrination. Despite being a medtech, he tells Starscream,
I've done plenty of body work, Starscream, but I'm better at breaking them than fixing them.
To add emphasis, he procures with no small amount of enthusiasm, a nefarious tool out of his arm, which begins churning in a menacing, sawing, grinding manner, indicating his proclivity for violence. It is clear that Knockout takes pleasure in battle, yet, in true Decepticon fashion, is willing to run rather than stand and fight, if there is even a remote chance of losing the battle. Another interesting aspect of this character is that he is decidedly a robotic equivalent of a narcissist, as exhibited by his fixation on his appearance.
I like the way I look in steel-belted radios. Detailing was so much easier when Breakdown was around.
Thus, he is decidedly more of a prima donna than a battle-hardened, time-tested soldier. In episode 11, he makes repeated remarks regarding his finish in reference to his paint job. He makes it clear to both Starscream and his medical colleague that he is proud of his capabilities as an Autobot and repeatedly disregards Starscream's command to not engage in street racing, which he, Starscream, deemed beneath their nobility as superior to the human rabble. Knockout says in this same episode that he is an automobile enthusiast.
I'm an automobile enthusiast.
And is terrified when, as a punishment for disobeying Starscream's orders, he is informed that his punishment will be, quote,
"Do not worry, your punishment shall be merely cosmetic."
At which point we hear him yell,
No, not the finish. No, anything but